I'm Mazin, and I'm from Syria, originally from Dar'a city, which is the cradle of the Syrian revolution. But I was born in Damascus, and I was grow up and raised up in this city for all of my life. Before the Syrian revolution, I used to work as an English teacher and translator, and at the same time, I was working as a human rights defender. I studied two disciplines. The first one, it was English literature, and the second, it was international relations. We were the first country in the Middle East who has their own freedom. We were the first country who give the women their rights to vote. We were the first country who used to send teachers to other countries to cultivate them, to learn them. Let's say that Damascus is the oldest inhabited capital of the world. So when you are losing Damascus, you are losing your history as a human being. When you are losing Aleppo, which is the oldest city in the world, you are losing your history as human beings. After these massacres, after these genocides in Syria, you will talk after 1 year that there was a Syrian people living in that land. It was like we are not living in this world. We don't know what's going up out of Dar'a city. So we thought for the first time that it will happen again, a massacre against Dar'a people like the massacre that happened in Hama city 1982 when Hafez al-Assad, the father of Bashar al-Assad, killed 70,000 of civilians in Hama city. So we thought that it happened again with Dar'a people. I went there with my laptop, with my 3G USB, and with my camera. What the first thing that I did, it was documenting the numbers of the killed people in this city. My cousins who were 15 years old, who used to go to the school, they used to bring me pictures, and I used to broadcasting these pictures. I used to send tens of reports to the Human Rights Watch, to the International Amnesty, to the Human Rights Council of the United Nations, to the embassies, to the foreign embassies in Damascus, to the ministries of foreign affairs all over the world, asking them to interfere in Syria, to protect the civilians. There was no electricity, as I told you, there was no internet, but one of my friends in Jordan brought to me something like, it's a global satellite, it is called Thuraya Mobile. And by this mobile, you can call without using the local network of mobile or something like that. So I used to call the channels by this mobile. My village is surrounded by 40 villages. These 40 villages, most of them are Bedouins. And these villages, most of them, they don't have laptops. They don't know how to use the laptops even. So, but they have big demonstrations, but they didn't use to cover what's going up in their villages. So I used to go sometimes by myself to make videos about the demonstrations and then broadcasting them to Al Jazeera channel, Al Arabiya channel, and BBC and other channels, telling them what is going on there in Dar'a.
يا حيف يا حيف يا حيف يا حيف يا حيف ويا حيف.
A song by a Syrian singer who lives in Paris, singing to the Syrian revolution. Every time remembering this story, I cannot stop myself of tearing because it's something like the first time we know. It's something like the first time we know that somebody out of the city knows what's going up in my city. Salmiya, He's the fighter for freedom, who's the first one who sings for freedom. And when he sent this song for us by Bluetooth, we know for the first time that there are people out of Syria knows what's going on in Dar'a, and Dar'a city will not face like Hama faced in the 80s of the last century. I can remember that in this song, the verse was something like, "You are my citizen, and how could you use rifles against us? It is unbelievable to kill your people. You are a Syrian soldier, so how can you kill your people?" We didn't prepare any slogans, we didn't prepare any songs to be enchanted in the demonstrations. So this song came to us just to be repeated every day in our demonstrations. We used to say only these words, Salmiya, Salmiya, which means peace, peace. What we are seeking, only peace. Our revolution is a peaceful. What we seeking, our freedom. This was our enchanting in the revolutions and the demonstrations.
زخ رصاص على الناس العزل يا حيف، واطفال بعمر الورد اعتقلن كيف. زخ رصاص على الناس العزل يا حيف، واطفال بعمر الورد اعتقلن كيف. كيف وانت ابن بلادي تقتل بولادي، وظهرك للعادي وعلي هاجم بالسيف. يا حافن يا حيف، ظهرك للعادي وعلي هاجم بالسيف. يا حافن يا حيف، وهذا اللي صاير يا حيف. وبدار عاوية يما ويا حيف، هذا اللي صاير يا حيف. وبدار عاوية يما ويا حيف. سمعت هالشباب يما الحرية عالباب يما، طلعوا يهتفوا له. شافوا البواريد يمه قالوا اخوتنا هن، ومش رح يضربونا. سمعت هالشباب يما الحرية عالباب يما.
سلمية سلمية.
After that, I knew that I was wanted. And somebody called me from the military service section in Dar'a city saying to me, "I know you very well, and I don't want you to lose your life. So you have to leave the country after 3 days because your name will be on the checkpoints after 3 days." But I couldn't believe him, since how could I leave my people, It is something like I would die before leaving my country. When you are the only one in one area who speaks English, and when you are the only one who uses laptop, and you are leaving your people, so something like you are betraying your people, But I had no other choice. My mother was dying out of that, because I didn't tell them. My mother and father doesn't speak English, so they don't know what I am talking with the TVs all the time. I used to lock my door and talk to the channels, but they didn't know. But they have some doubt in their minds that I am doing something in that room. But when one day I was passing by their rooms and I heard my mother saying to my dad, "What do you think we have to do if the police intelligence came to arrest Mazin?" And he was suggesting for her, we can hide him in the refrigerator. And then we can throw the key and we can tell the police that we didn't find the key. And when I heard that, my mother started to be like yellow face because of horror that she's living. And one day, without telling me, she called my old brother who is living in Damascus also, and he knows one of the intelligence agents. And she told him, just book a ticket for Mazin to Dubai. And they booked for me a ticket without telling me. And they called me saying to me that your sister is dying in Damascus and she wants to see you before she dies. I didn't know that they are doing that because they want me to fly or to travel out of the country. And then I decided to go to Damascus to see my sister. And it was a lie. They put me in the car and give me a drive to the airport, and I just slept in that airplane, and I woke up in Dubai. One day, 2001, it was my first time to leave Syria for tourism. It was me, my father, mother, and sister, and we went to Egypt for the first time in my life. And in Egypt, there was in the street a wagon who sells fool and ta'miya. This is in Egypt, like falafel or something like that. Me and my dad wanted to try to eat on this wagon on the street. And then the salesman was very angry from the president of Egypt, he was Hosni Mubarak. And he started to say, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to mention these bad words. Me and my fathers were surprised. How could he say these words against the president? How could he say Hosni Mubarak without mentioning Mr. Majesty or Highness or President? How? So we started, me and my father, to flee in the street, running away, thinking that they will come to arrest us. It was a horror. And I was only 16 years, you know? So after that, I discovered that nobody fled but only me and my father. So it was my first question. Why these people in Egypt are allowed to express themselves, while in my country should we say like 10 titles before the name of Assad? Why? This was my first question for me. Why? After that, I started to write poems against the regime. And I remember that one of the poems that I wrote against this regime, my dad said to me, "You will kill all of us because you are very rash in your life and you think that you are the most intelligent one in Syria, and you think that you are stronger than me and you are more encouraged than me and than others, and you want to do everything and you want to fix and repair this country. You should not, because you will kill all of us, your sisters, your mother, your brothers. You should not say and write something like that." And after that, I used to write such poems and essays in English and posting them on my Facebook and my blog. And I used to release them in my university to my friends. Syrian revolution was very famous by their songs. Even we used to have now, the Syrian revolution added many terms to the classical revolution terms. For example, only in the Syrian revolution you can find a word like coordinationity. It is invented by the Syrians. This word which is added to the English language now. Coordinationity, it means that one team of coordinators who are working with the same place to coordinate the demonstrations, to writing the slogans, to carrying the flags. This is one of the inventions to the Syrian to the classical meaning of revolutions. One important thing, it is the flying demonstrations. And the flying demonstrations, it was invented only in Syria. It means that you are coordinating by Skype program, coordinating that in 6 o'clock sharp, we will meet at this area to shout for 30 seconds only, saying that we want freedom, and make this video and run away before police coming. And it was like killing the regime, because they don't know at the same time how could this 100 be here and be there at the same time. So it was very well organized demonstrations, these flying demonstrations. And this is really what makes the regime angry and mad. So it's not fair at all to be silent. I used to say every time, if we as Syrians are dying by the regime weapons, are dying by Russian weapons, are dying by Chinese weapons, by Iranian weapons, but also we are dying by European silence. It is very good weapon to be silent. It is a weapon to be silent. Even when you are neutral, it is a weapon. When you are neutral, to be neutral, it is something when you have 2 points of view. This is point of view may be right, and this is point of view may be right, and it is here, you must be neutral. But you will have people who are struggling to have their own freedom against this killer and criminal regime. It is a weapon, it is a crime to be silent. And this is the crime of the European governments. It's a crime against humanity. When you are silent and hundreds, thousands of people are dying not only by weapons, dying by starvation, which is imposed by the Syrian forces against the cities who are supporting the revolution. It's not fair at all to be a citizen in this age where we have all this technology, where we have all this development, when we have all this civilization, while 3 hours by plane, there are some people who are dying because they don't have food or milk. It is unbelievable. It is our duty as a guy who studied, who was educated, who was witnessing this horror, to say to this regime, that's enough. You should stop. We are now in 21 age. You should know that with the age of internet, that freedom will be leaked to Syria, and you cannot cut Syria from the world, because all the globe are one small village now, and one day we will have our freedom if you want or not. Because of that, I believe that we will do it, if not me, my son. دمشق عروس العمر، للشام مني 1000 أغنية، للشام مني 1000 أغنية، ولقاسيونها ترانيم السلام، وقيثارة حب وطير يمامي، تبثها شرايين تضج ياسمين، يطرب لها بردا فيعزف السلسبيل، دم شق شراييني، دم شق شراييني، دمشق أنت حوائي فأغويني، دمشق أنت عروس العمر فضميني وزفيني، دمشق الأرض روحها تشتاق، دمشق الأرض روحها تشتاق لطرفة عين أو دفء حضن ولو كان ذباح، مئذنة الشحم تنادي الكون قاطبة، للشام غنوا 1000 أغنية، ولقاسيونها رتلوا عل الروح ترتاح، دمشق لما العمر يمضي، دمشق لما العمر يمضي، وأجزائي تبحث عنك لتفضي، بمكنون روحي وعصف قلبي، بدهشة طفلي وصرخة شيبي، دمشق كأن المسجد الأموي فيها شمس، كأن المسجد الأموي فيها شمس، والناس حوله كواكب، ولآلئ يوحنا منها يغني، يوحنا منها يغني، ويرد حمام الأموي زاجلا صداح، للشام 7 أبواب، لبرد 7 أطفال، ولها الشعر منسكب ومنداح، دمشق 4 أحرف أختصر بها كوني، دمشق 4 أحرف أختصر بها كوني، دال دوري يغني، ميم متيم يهذي، شين شمس تظل وتدمي، قاف قلب ينبض ياسمينا ويمضي، دمشق عروس العمر، فيا روحي بها تجلي، فيا روحي بها تجلي.